Hey, so the other day I watched Certified Copy, which was directed by Kiarostami, who's quickly becoming one of my favorite directors. I had only seen Taste of Cherry, which is I feel like one of his big ones. I saw that like a couple years ago, I think. And then for so long, that movie like really stuck with me. I would say it's probably one of my favorite movies ever. And I think that I was putting off watching another movie by him because I was just scared that it wasn't going to live up to Taste of Cherry. And so I watched back to back the other day. I watched Close Up, which is, I feel like it's like there with Taste of Cherry as like his big one. And then I watched Certified Copy right afterwards. And I loved Close Up. I thought Close Up was so it's definitely a movie where if you're watching it, you probably have an idea of what the concept is, because it's like the concept is like half the reason the movie was even made. But Certified Copy, I knew nothing about. I had no idea what it was about, and I wanted to keep it that way. And I'm so happy that I did. It is. I think I like it more than Close Up. I think that it's just about as good. It's like I would say I maybe like Taste of Cherry more, but this is like very close. And I'm just so pleasantly surprised because I don't know, like Taste of Cherry, it's definitely not like the type of movie I usually like. So with Abbas Kiarostami, I was like, okay, it might just be a total fluke. I might just not be into the rest of his movies because his filming, his way of directing is super dry, and he's a very heady director. He's doing things that are not maybe in the moment super satisfying, but give you a lot to think about. But Certified Copy, I would say is most out of the three I've seen, definitely the most watchable, or like the most like moment to moment. I don't want to call it exciting because the movie's literally a conversation between two people. But Certified Copy flew by. It's only like an hour and 45 minutes or something. Either way, I just wanted to talk about this movie because it is so. I'm just going to spoil it when I talk about this, but it's such a crazy, like, just trip. It's just a trip. And so the basic premise of the movie is there's this guy who's he's like an art historian and an author who just came out with a book, and he's doing a book tour, and then this lady shows up to his book tour and invites him to just go on a day trip with him or with her while he just trying to kill time until his train leaves for the next stop of his tour. And the movie, it's going along like normal enough where they're just like talking about art and like what it means for, what's the value in originality, what's the, is an original inherently more valuable than like an extremely well made copy of it, all this kind of philosophical talk. And there's like this turning point in the movie where she's talking, he's like out taking a phone call, and she's in a cafe talking to the woman running the cafe, and she takes the lady running the cafe takes the man for the woman's wife or the woman's husband, and she just kind of goes along with it and she plays into it. And it's like, okay, she obviously is like has a crush on him or something. But then as the movie, like, that's like the turning point where after that the movie, it just their conversations totally flip-flop between what is like are they actually a married couple that have been married for 15 years, or are they playing into this like fun little role play thing where they're kind of pretending that they have been married for all these years, where it's to the point where they're like telling like they're like reminiscing on things that happened years ago with their child. And it's, I mean, basically what I take from the movie is that, so Abbas Kiarostami, he's a very meta guy. He really likes to talk about perspective and filmmaking itself, and how filmmaking is, you know, it's like a performance, just in a very general sense. But this movie is basically about like, okay, you're watching these people who you've all this time you've been assuming that they've never known, they've never met each other, and they're just talking and they're just getting to know each other. And then the point where they start speaking as if they're a married couple, it's just as convincing. Like their conversations are just as convincing. And so to me, Kiarostami's kind of posing the question of, you know, these people aren't real. Like none of this is real. So who cares whether they're just meeting each other or they're married? Because either way, the emotions all feel real. This is very, you know, you kind of get into it emotionally when they start. Like there's a point where he's telling a story about, like, or he's basically getting into an argument with her because he thinks, he's like mad that she feels neglected. And so they start like telling this story about whatever. The point, it doesn't really matter, but the point is they get into this big argument, and it's like these people are not even supposed to know who each other are. Words are very good. And these people, but you're totally into it, you're totally sold on it, and it's like, wow, this is like a very real human argument that they're having. And then probably my favorite part in the movie, the part that made me realize I was watching a freaking masterpiece, was they have this big argument where he like gets up and he storms out of this restaurant, and the woman, she's like kind of, you know, she's like wiping her tears and stuff, and then she like looks directly at the camera and she's like, hi, like, or like she's like, you know, mouthing like hi, like she's waving at the camera. And it's, you know, immediately shown to be her waving at somebody who's outside the restaurant, who she recognizes. She's just saying hi to them. But it definitely, to me, plays as this meta thing where she's like, she just gave this incredible performance, and then she's just like waving at the camera like, hi, like, that was pretty good, huh? Like, that was a good performance that I just gave. And it's like, oh my god, this movie is just insane. Like, Abbas Kiarostami is crazy in like the best way. And I mean, I think that if I rewatched it, I would probably notice a lot more moments where they're just looking directly at the camera, and I have a feeling I would probably like it even more on a rewatch. But the movie is just, I would say, I don't want to say it's like the one you should go with first, because I do think Taste of Cherries may be his best movie to watch, just as as a starting point, purely from like it's the least meta in the moment. But Certified Copy, I feel, is just a freaking masterpiece, and it's like verging on being tied with Taste of Cherry as my favorite Kiarostami movie. I have just not stopped thinking about it, and I am so happy that I finally got around to watching it. I got this movie like months ago and I hadn't gotten around to it. And then I just had a free day and I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna get these. I was, okay, not get it out of the way, but I was like, I just gotta watch these movies, man, because I've been putting it off for so long. And holy crap, dude, yesterday was the 50% off flash sale for the Criterion Collection. And I bought he has a trilogy of movies called the Coker Trilogy. And I bought it, and I'm just so excited to watch 3 more of his movies. So yeah, Certified Copy, Kiarostami. Love this movie. Alright, thank you. And I will see you next time.